Well, April marks Child Abuse Prevention Month, and local organizations are working to raise awareness.
In Green Bay, one child advocacy center is using a very simple symbol to highlight this much bigger issue. New at 6, Elise Noe joins us in the studio with a closer look at the impact. Elise.
Cami and Chris, all throughout the month, blue and silver pinwheels line the lawn of the willow tree, each one representing a child impacted by abuse or neglect in Northeast Wisconsin in 2026. This year, 130 pinwheels were placed, which reflects the number of children the center has served through active investigations so far. Staff say the number is slightly higher than previous years, with the majority of those cases involving sexual abuse. Advocates say the pinwheels are meant to be more than visual. They're a reminder that prevention and safety start within the community, and everyone can play a role in promoting the social and emotional well-being of a child.
Child trauma seeps into adulthood and at times can cause problems later in life. Addiction, substance abuse, mental health struggles, anxiety and depression, and really the importance of reaching out and helping children who have experienced abuse. Children can move forward with those appropriate supports in their corner.
Willow Tree offers prevention education and resources for families year-round. We have more information on WBAY.com. Chris.